You hear it all the time, right? AI is our new teammate. It's our digital partner in crime. But what if that's not just a cute marketing slogan? What if it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what this technology really is? Today, we're going to peel back the hype and get to the truth about your so-called AI teammate. And you see this idea everywhere, this notion that AI has evolved beyond simple automation. Now it's a partner that helps us with the heavy lifting of thinking. It's a really compelling vision, this perfect team up of human and machine. But is it actually what's happening? And that really gets to the heart of the matter, the big question for this entire explainer. Is this truly a partnership? I mean, when you're using an AI tool, are you really collaborating, or is something else going on just beneath the surface? Well, let's find out. To get to the bottom of this, we first got to talk about something I like to call the collaboration illusion. And to do that, we need to be clear about what collaboration even means. So, think about it. What makes a good human teammate? It's not just about getting an answer. Real, true collaboration, it boils down to two key things. First, you have to actually understand each other. And honestly, AI is getting shockingly good at that part. But the second condition, that's the real deal breaker. You both have to be able to explain why you did what you did. You need to justify your work. And that, right there, is where this whole partnership story just completely falls apart. This slide lays it out perfectly. Look, you can ask a human colleague, hey, why'd you choose that approach? What's your logic? You can hold them accountable. But in AI, it can understand what you're asking for, sure, but it can't give you a real, debatable reason for its answer. This isn't a team. It's a one-way street, and that creates this huge imbalance of power. And this inability for AI to explain itself, that leads us directly to one of the biggest headaches in AI today, the famous, or maybe infamous, black box problem. I love this phrase from the source material, a simulation of understanding. That is exactly what's going on. When you ask a large language model to, show its work, it's not actually opening up its code and showing you its thought process. No way. It's just generating more text that sounds like a plausible reason. It's a performance. It's a really convincing imitation of human logic, but it has zero guaranteed connection to how it actually got the answer. This black box thing isn't just a tech problem. It creates a massive, massive trust problem. And you can see it clear as day in the data. Just look at this. You've got 56% of AI experts who are optimistic about AI's impact, but only 17% of the general public feels that same way. That's not just a gap, my friends. That is a chasm. And it's not just that people aren't excited, it's that they're actively worried. A majority of adults, 51%, are more concerned than excited about where AI is headed. And honestly, can you blame them? It's a pretty rational response to a technology that is both unbelievably powerful and, at the same time, totally opaque. And that trust deficit isn't spread evenly either. Check out this chart. There's a pretty big divide based on income. 66% of high-income folks trust businesses to manage AI responsibly, but that number drops to just 53% for low-income individuals. Think about what that means. The very people who are most likely to be disrupted by this new technology are the ones who trust the people rolling it out the least. And hey, it's not just the public struggling with this. Even inside companies, the story is pretty similar. Get this, 88% of companies are playing around with AI, but only about a third have actually managed to scale it across their business. So why is the gap so huge? Well, because it's one thing to use a cool new tool. It's a whole other thing to bet your company's core processes on a black box you can't really trust. Okay, so we've got this huge trust issue, this whole black box problem. But on the other hand, we have these productivity gains you just can't ignore. So what does AI's real-world report card actually look like? Let's take a look at the numbers. All right, I want you to just stare at this number for a second. Plus 55.8%. Any guesses what that might be? That is how much faster a group of programmers completed a task when they were using an AI assistant. 55.8% faster. This right here is the undeniable power of AI. It is an absolute supercharger for specific, well-defined jobs. It is a total game changer. And it's definitely not just for coding. As you can see, customer support agents are knocking out 14% more issues an hour. Professionals are churning out higher quality writing in less time. And what's really fascinating is that it's the rookies, the novice workers, who are seeing the biggest jumps in performance. It's kind of leveling the playing field. I mean, these numbers are incredible, you can't deny it, but they also force us to stop and ask a really critical question. Just because we're working faster, does that automatically mean we're working smarter? And the answer, as it turns out, is a big, flashing not necessarily. This is where we slam right into something called the crutch effect. Look, when the AI just hands you the complete answer on a silver platter, you kind of stop thinking for yourself. You offload your own reasoning process, and over time, your own skills start to fade. You get the right answer today, but you lose the ability to find it on your own tomorrow. And that is a really dangerous trade-off. So what do? We've got this amazing tool that can make us way faster, but it also might be making us less skilled in the long run. This brings us to our final section. How do we build a model for smarter, more effective human-AI teamwork? Okay, this is the new reality we have to accept. First, AI is a tool, a powerful, opaque tool, but it's not your partner. Second, because it's a tool, you, the human, are 100% on the hook for its output. You can't blame the hammer if you miss the nail, and you can't blame the AI. And third, that means you can't just drop AI into your life and expect magic. You have to fundamentally redesign how you work to use this tool safely and effectively. And that leads us to the single most important takeaway from all of this. We have been so obsessed with building a better AI partner that we've completely forgotten to ask a much more important question. How do we build a better human process? How do we use this incredible new technology to make ourselves smarter, not just faster? The answer to that question, well, that's what's going to define the future of work. What do you think it is?